If you're anything like me, you're willing to die for the truth. I'm taking the red pill every time, come hell or high water. And on this Vanlife journey, a common question I'm asking is, what is real and what is just culture? What are the comforting lies we tell each other as members of a society? It can be tough to see them when they surround us like the air we breathe. The common beliefs just become invisible. Living in a van outside the mainstream, I get to see a different perspective on things. One of the ways we have historically tried to break free from culture is through psychedelics. They call it going on a trip. Just like a trip through 3 dimensions, they remove our minds from the context we take for granted. The popular metaphor is that psychedelics are like taking a helicopter ride to the top of the mountain. You see the view and you glimpse the truth, but you don't get to stay. Meditation is climbing the mountain. It's slower and harder, but the wisdom becomes permanent. I'm here to tell you, if you're interested in reaching the peak, it's worth your time to put in the work. Climb the mountain step by step, so that you can get there one day and stay up there permanently. Along the way, your mind will become clearer, more agile, and less prone to anxiety. Both psychedelics and meditation can show us the truth, but only meditation makes that truth livable. One of the most common reported effects of psychedelics is what is sometimes referred to as ego death. When one ingests high doses of LSD, psilocybin, or DMT, they report a temporary loss or dissolution of the ordinary sense of self. This perceived separation between inside and outside, or self and other, disappears entirely. Users often report that they have merged with the universe. However, it is more accurate to say that this separation is seen to have been an illusion all along. Timothy Leary described it as moving beyond the game of life and seen through the illusion of self. Before this happens, users generally describe a state of intense fear, as the ego resists its undoing. It should be noted that the ego is not really a thing, but a collection of mental processes which merge together to create a sense of identity. In essence, we are shown that the separate self never existed in the first place, and that the habitual mental processes which fabricate it can be switched off. These same states are also available through meditation and prayer. Mystics from many traditions describe it as union with the divine, or dissolving into pure awareness. Christianity maintained a mystical tradition for centuries, with St. Augustine, Meister Eckhart, and St. Teresa of Avila all speaking in great detail about the power of contemplative prayer for reaching unity with God. In Buddhism, this state of egolessness is known as anatta, or not self. In the modern day, neuroscientists have discovered how exactly this sense of self is created by the brain. When we are not actively engaged in a task, the brain turns on what is known as the default mode network. One of the primary characteristics of this network is that it activates a self-referential narrative. In essence, it starts to run simulations and stories in which there is a main character, and the mind takes that to be itself. When we are engaged in a task, this network is then turned off, as the brain unifies around the task at hand. Psychedelics directly disrupt the neural processes which activate the default mode network. This causes one to observe the natural state of life without the injection of a separate sense of self. Meditation has been cleverly designed over the years to do the exact same thing. When the mind unifies around a task, it loses access to those systems which enable it to project the sense of self. One of the key powers of mindfulness is that it allows us to detect when the mind wants to move off of our meditation object and into self-referential distraction. When our mindfulness is strong and the mind is unified, the default mode network switches off, and then, you guessed it, we experience ego death. Eventually, with enough courage and discipline, the mental processes that create the illusion of self can be permanently uprooted, and one lives in a constant state of non-identification. This is one of the properties of enlightenment. However, this process takes many, many hours. In most cases, it takes many years and usually decades. This is why we have to climb the mountain one step at a time and just stay on the path. On the way, we get glimpses, especially while on long retreat. We get previews of what is waiting, and they are glorious. But you gotta do the work. Trust me, it's worth it. See you on the path.